So what we have here is crusted chicken. I did just a basic crusted chicken that has gluten-free breadcrumbs, a little bit of salt, and parsley. So I decided to keep it on the neutral side, and we can use the dip as a way of accenting the flavor. And we have oven-roasted sweet potato cubes and oven-roasted green beans. So the next thing that I'm going to do is to actually show you how you would go about crusting the chicken and get it to stay nice and crispy, because there's a little secret tip to that. Right now, what I like to do is to show you how to make the crusted chicken. And this was actually a recipe that came out of Food and Wine. It was a very decadent recipe, pretty high in fat and whatnot. But the tip that I got out of it was actually using a rack to dry the chicken on after you've crusted it and to actually let it dry for about 30 minutes before you actually do the cooking, the sautéing, and then the hot oven bake to finish it off. So the first thing is to actually cut up some boneless pieces of chicken. And what I generally like to do is to take a full breast of a boneless breast and then cut it up into fours, making it more into tenders so that you can make these ahead of time, cook them, cool them, and then freeze them. So I frequently will use these for salad toppers. I might use them to throw in a sandwich real quickly. You know, it's just a great way of actually having small pieces of chicken very easily available for you. So the first thing that we do is we make an egg white wash. And what is actually in this egg white wash is an egg white, cornstarch, because cornstarch is actually going to help a little bit of the thickening and to hold the crumbs in place, and a little bit of lemon juice. So that combination is what you would do. And again, you have the recipes for this. So we wash it in the egg white. And then the next thing that we do is just kind of drip off the remains of the fluid and then roll it in your crumbs. So again, in this case, I decided to use gluten-free crumbs, a little bit of salt and parsley, shake that off, and then once it's crumbed, you just lay it on the rack and you just let it go there for, again, about a half an hour. So I'll take these pieces and we'll get them happening. If I have a large batch that I'm doing, what I will do is I will take one of my large Tupperware containers and I'll put all my crumb mixture in that, and then I'll throw a bunch of the cubes in and I just shake it all around, put them on the rack, then I take another one, shake them all around and put them on. So if you're dealing with quite a bit, there are definitely some easier ways to go. Set for about a half an hour before we finish it off on the stove and in the oven. For the crusted chicken, what you'll do is you'll spray your pan with some pan spray, a nice heavy pan. You really want to have a heavy pan, not a light pan. Light pans will tend to burn very quickly, and they'll smoke. The oil will smoke very quickly. So either spray it with a pan spray or very lightly with some grapeseed or canola oil. You want to saute the chicken on both sides and then put it in a 450 oven to finish it off for about 10 minutes. And that really allows it to seal in that nice tenderness inside for the chicken, but also keeps the crispiness on the outside. So it's a great way to go. So the next thing we're going to talk about is actually oven roasting vegetables. Very, very simple way to go, and it makes the vegetables taste amazingly good. So for starchy, hard vegetables such as the sweet potatoes, or if you were doing beets or turnips, it's going to basically take you somewhere between 25 and 30 minutes. So you want to wash them. I generally leave the skins on of my sweet potatoes because that's where a lot of your fiber and a lot of your vitamins and minerals are right under it. So I scrub them really well, and then I cut them up into cubes. And generally what I'll do is take a freezer bag, put in a couple of teaspoons of a grapeseed oil, and part of the reason I use grapeseed oil is that it has a high smoking point. It won't denature, it won't become carcinogenic as quickly as an olive oil or another lighter oil. I'll put them in the bag, shake them up, put them on a nice heavy pan, and then pop them in the oven, rotating them roughly every 5 to 7 minutes for about 25 to 35 minutes. The way that you'll know that your vegetable is done is if it comes out fork tender. So if it slides in and slides out, your vegetables are ready. Take them out and they're ready to go. You can also add different herbs and spices. Sometimes I'll use marjoram, thyme, a little bit of sage, which tastes absolutely amazingly well. Other times I might like to use rosemary. So it depends on what flavor I'm actually looking for in the content of the meal. But every vegetable can have a different flavor and not be quite so boring. Now with your non-starchy vegetables, such as the green beans, those are only going to take probably about 10, maybe 12 minutes in terms of cooking. So you want to make sure that you don't overcook them. And again, what I did is cut them up, put in a couple of teaspoons of grapeseed oil, shake them up in the bag, put them on a heavy pan, Again, 425 oven, turn them around about every 3 to 4 minutes, and voila, you've got oven roasted vegetables. That ties it up for us in terms of Jazz Your Palate today. We talked about spices, we talked about using Greek yogurt for dips, and I think for everybody that was one of the highlights was the Greek yogurt and also the crusty chicken. That was pretty close to KFC, I think, with being healthy. And then learning how to oven roast vegetables. So your homework today, or actually for this week, is to try some of these things. You have all the recipes in your packet. They're really very, very simple. That's one of the things that I like to, have people be able to walk away with, the things that are not intimidating. And I'll really look forward to your feedback next week. So, bon appetit.